So that was one epic Oregon-Ohio State football game. I got to tell you, as a guy who does not have a bone in that fight, who already watched his team get destroyed by the number one team in the country, I have no qualms about what I'm going to do come Sunday morning when we got to talk about the top 25, because what Oregon was able to do is what many thought they were capable of doing when they first entered the Big Ten, given the trajectory that they had been on, given what Oregon had shown in the Dan Lanning era. And we knew that Ohio State going into Autzen was going to be the first real test of the $20 million roster and the all-star caliber offense and defense that they fielded at a stadium that seats just over 60,000 people, but was one of the loudest stadiums in the sport, full stop. Certainly one of the loudest stadiums seating under 80,000. And they were going to be heard. They were absolutely going to be heard. And every time I thought Ohio State was getting ready to take this game by the throat, Oregon came up with a play. And for the second time in 3 years, yes, 2021, we're talking about an Oregon team that did not have its dominant defensive playmaker, Jordan Burch this year, Kayvon Thibodeau in Columbus, getting a W against the team that we think is going to win the Big Ten championship. Well, again, Oregon decided, no, we might be new to the Big Ten, but this is also a new era of college football in as far as we are concerned. So we're going to take Will Stein, we're going to take Tosh Lapoy, and we're going to take Riverboat Gambling Dan Lanning, the kind of man who calls fourth down plays like he is hitting on 19, and we're going to go win 32-31 at Autzen against what I thought was the number one team in all of college football. No, that team is now Oregon. They have won 34 of their last 35 games at Autzen, which is another way of saying you don't want them at home in the playoff. That is now the best home field advantage in the sport. Full stop. When Ohio State can go there, and when you can obviously see that there's a challenge, but it's not the Oregon team that we had thought they were going to be. It's more like the Oregon team that's rounding into form, right? Actually, I think it's more important to say Oregon has taken the trajectory that I was given to Ohio State, right? All the way to this game, I'd say Ohio State has not played a sharp football game end to end yet, and yet they were still stunting on people. They were absolutely destroying people. When they got to Oregon, it felt like they were going to have to play their best football. And there were times when we saw it. There were times when you saw Emeka Egbuka late making a play. The stupid PI call that was on Jeremiah Smith. I get that y'all are saying that Oregon fans be like, he pushed off. I don't think it was that big a deal, right? I think the man got separation. If you can't do that in college football or any football, then we not playing football anymore. What are we, two-hand touching out here? Can't put your hands on nobody no more? Y'all afraid of it? Meanwhile, Tez Johnson going, nah, I got it, dog. I got it. And then I get to see Evan Stewart going, you know what, Denzel Burke? It's your turn. Denzel Burke, we going to be picking on you tonight. Denzel Burke, who claims he got a first-round grade, came back because he ain't got no gold pants, no Big Ten championship, no national championship. We're going to come after you. I think Denzel Burke will have some explaining to do. That's what I think. I think that a lot of folks are going to be asking questions like, really, one-on-one versus Evan Stewart, you going to get cooked? Versus Tez Johnson, you going to get cooked? Is that what's going to happen? To say nothing of what Terrence Ferguson was able to do, outstanding when they had getting in the ball. And then you're talking about Dylan Gabriel being Dylan Gabriel, right? The same running play that he made to get in the end zone against Ohio State, he made last year against Texas. I don't know what it is that he's got to prove to the NFL, but all I know is where that dude goes, winning seems to follow. And that is the highest praise I can give any quarterback at any level. Are you a winner? Because if you are a winner, winning usually follows you around. And they are undefeated. He went 23 of 34 for 341 yards through 2 TDs. Jordan James had another outstanding game, 23 rushes for 115 yards and a TD. And, of course, Evan Stewart just eating up what I thought was, and what still might be, but what I thought was the best secondary in all of college football, right? Full stop. Like, that's what we thought it was. The spread was 3.5. Ohio State was the favorite going in there trying to get the W. If they got the W on the road, it would have been definitive mark for them to be the number one team in the country. As it is, no, that is Oregon. Oregon has all of it. They get to beat Chip Kelly. They get to beat Ryan Day. They get to beat this roster. And now we really have to have that discussion that Ohio State fans have wanted to have about Will Howard for some time. Doesn't matter if the man went 28-35, 326, 2 TDs and no picks. It matters that when it was Will winning time, Will didn't do no winning. That's what it was. I'd been saying for some time that it felt like Will Howard needed to just be Craig Krenzel, which is another way of saying be mobile when you got to be mobile, but for the most part, exist to hand this ball to Quinshon Judkins, to hand this ball to Travion Henderson, and throw this ball to Jeremiah Smith, throw this ball to Megabuka on down the line, right? He did a lot of that. He didn't do enough of it. We're talking about really Travion Henderson coming up short on a play that I thought they had to have, even as he was a home run hitter. Jeremiah Smith still had a great game, 9 catches for 100 yards, and TD, I thought, again, the push-off was lame. The PI on it, I should say, is lame. And then you're getting into the spot where you got the ball and you got an opportunity to win, and Oregon's defense, Tosh Lafleur, they step up and they stop you. That's what it was, man. Both offenses were humming. 496 yards offense for Oregon, 467 for Ohio State. Both quarterbacks threw for 300 yards. Had a 100-yard rusher over there on Oregon. Had 87, I think, and 10 carries, by the way. It was just gaudy for Travion Henderson. I expect this to be the Big Ten championship game. I really do. I expect that to happen. What I saw from Penn State earlier today, I don't see it. I don't see it. You were on the ropes. You were down 20-6 to a USC team that we know is not good. That's a 7-5 team over there, right? We're going to keep Penn State in the top 5 because we gotta, right? It's Penn State and they're undefeated. But if you put Indiana in Penn State's clothes, you would have Indiana at number 4 in your college football rankings. Like that's what it would be. We're just respecting the jersey. We're respecting the name, the brand. We're not really throwing the weight behind it that we would otherwise. That's one of the reasons why we can move in Oregon to number 1. We know what the brand is. And we know that Dan Lanning is out here trying to take everything from everybody all the time. Meanwhile, Ryan Day is going to have some questions he got to answer about all of this that they gave him. Because that's the thing about Ohio State. If you tell Ohio State fans and Ohio State alumni and the brass that you need this much money and you need these coaches to win, what's going to happen is they're going to find a way to get you what you need. But if you don't go win with what they got you, it's just not going to look good, right? That's why we started the season going, you have to be you have to win the Big Ten championship, you have to win a national championship, you're Ryan Day. Goes without saying, I think at this point you have to win November 30th against Michigan. But now your back is up against it because now we're down to Penn State, Oregon, and Indiana as the last undefeated teams in the Big Ten, and we all know who we're favoring when it comes to that sort of calculus, right? I think if you want to leave Texas at number 1, I'm not really going to fight you, but I am going to say that Oregon has the best win in college football, but by sheer fact that, A, Georgia won by just 10 against Mississippi State earlier tonight. We'll talk about them a little bit later.